This is a true example of love bombing. The names have been changed, phone numbers, emails, texts, parts of numbers have been blurred out to protect individuals in this true story. All interview quotes, clippings are from local newspapers, Christian magazines or internet interviews, his own publicity, and there are messages to me from him, his victims and witnesses. Words are unchanged except for names. Manuel really believes he's very famous. Just after we'd shared our 22nd wedding anniversary, both telling each other how much we loved each other and looking forward to a future together, less than a month later, out of the blue, no red flags, okay, there was the odd issue but nothing that could not be worked out, I was told it was over and to move out, which I did do as amicably as possible. Friends, family were all shocked. She hadn't talked to any of her friends about it, and friends had commented about a recent visit to London on how in love we looked. And then I was asked to fix her email system, which had gone down, and I found love emails Manuel. While I had agreed to move out, leave her the house, and in about 5 years, if she sold the house, I'd get £15,000, and in between I would help make sure she could carry on with her business, which I was being made unemployed as we had worked together. After a few days, I checked her mobile phone itemised bills, which were all on my account. I'd never checked them before. Well, it turned out in just less than 6 months, she had contacted Manuel over 5,500 times. Now, I'd only ever met Manuel twice and texted him over work I was doing for him in exchange for him teaching our son guitar, and my ex was taking our son over to the lessons. You can see Manuel is a real big texter. For every one I'd send him, he'd send 3 or 4, all with his tongue firmly up my arse. So if you think my ex was replying to his texts, and then there would be at least 11,000 texts between them. Now this is his number, ending in 349, and the address he was living with another woman whom I thought was his partner. You can see he was texting me while also texting my wife. Manuel is a born-again Christian with a personal audience with God, even tried to be ordained. He presents himself as whiter than white. Anyway, I laid hints to my ex that I knew what was going on, and she finally told me that her and Esteban had become close. So I told her now everything was going to be split 50-50. And then I got a barrage of phone calls and texts from Manuel, lasting about 3 hours. Threats including he would take great pleasure in destroying my life, and that my wife was with Jesus. I thought he was a nutter, because he was ranting, raging. Then he gave me a sob story. For some reason, he wanted me to take pity on him for his apparent troubled past. Anyway, I had lots of threatening solicitors' letters wanting me to sign the house over to my ex, which I did not do. Just a few days after Manuel and the woman he'd been living with moved in with my ex, I get arrested on very serious false allegations. I'm meant to be a dangerous maniac. Our son is then kicked out and moves in with me. My ex has now been cut off from all her long-term friends, and they are all coming to me asking what the hell is going on. They couldn't believe the allegations or the way my ex was acting towards her children and friends. I had to find out about Esteban, and lucky for me, I was introduced to people counselling some of his victims, and some of his victims talked to me. Some were just too frightened to talk. But it turned out Manuel was not his real name. He was pretending to be Spanish. It turns out he was British Indian. Classic malignant narcissist. Child prodigy. One of the top classical and flamenco guitarists in the world. Fake dodgy charities, grandiose life and history, miracle healing, him waking up in a body bag, major history of damaged people in the past, claims that when checked out were proven to be lies or exaggerations. He is a competent liar and very convincing. Everything is OTT insane. Of course there has been much tragedy in his life. He's always very ill, terminal, incurable, sympathy vote, victim. He ticks so many boxes on the sociopath, psychopath, Munchausen, narcissist spectrum that you run out of ink. On the other hand, my ex is more an empath, and I'm damn sure he saw that. After well over a year, the police finally told my ex in polite words that they didn't believe her. I was allowed back to the house that we owned. It was abandoned and totally wrecked. Crucifixes everywhere, no ceiling in the kitchen, everywhere was painted white, which I'm sure he believes represents his purity. I found love letters to my ex, and I can confirm from other ladies from his past, and some from around the same time as he was love bombing my ex, he wrote the same words to them. My ex was totally smitten, totally in love. He'd hooked her. I've tried explaining to some not as close friends that still have a little contact with my ex about narcissistic brainwashing. They unfortunately cannot understand. They think that you have to be like a zombie. She has very little contact with anyone, including our son. It is very out of character. He had to write out an oath, pledging to serve him. Many other narcissistic techniques, love bombing, gaslighting, triangulation, devaluation, rages, hoovering, baiting, shaming, control, pity, intimidation, fear, false hope, guilt, stonewalling, lies, and many more lies were used. One day, I hope my ex finds the strength to find the truth, and it would be nice to see her take the path to a new future, one that does not mean destroying relationships with her friends and her family, and that includes our children's well-being. I hope this little video gives some insight to the narcissistic love bombing. Please refuse to be a victim anymore.
Did you podcast?